Hello to all the wonderful viewers watching today. My name is Washington Banjo, and I want to share something deeply personal that I hope can help many of you make a more informed decision if you are contemplating moving into a nursing home, whether for yourself or a loved one. This isn't just a cautionary tale. It's the story of my own journey and the hard truths I wish someone had told me before I made that life-changing decision. At the time, I thought it was the best option for me, a place where I would receive care and comfort in my older years. But the reality was far different, and I want to share those lessons with you today. So, if you're watching this, take a moment to reflect on the decision ahead because it could shape the rest of your life. At 82 years old, I've seen a lot and experienced even more. Over the years, I've come to understand the value of independence, privacy, and personal responsibility. But there was one major decision I made that I now deeply regret: moving into a nursing home. At the time, it seemed like the right choice. My family assured me it was the safest and most comfortable option. They promised me the care I needed, a place where I could be looked after. But once I settled in, everything changed. What I had envisioned wasn't what I experienced. And today I want to share with you 6 key regrets that have come from that decision. If you or your loved ones are considering this option, I hope this video helps you think about it more carefully. Let's get started. The first regret I have, and perhaps the hardest to accept, is losing my independence. Before moving in, I could do everything on my own. I woke up when I felt like it, ate when I was hungry, and even decided when I wanted to go for a walk. I had control over my own life, and that meant the world to me. But as soon as I moved into the nursing home, my sense of freedom was taken away. Everything ran on someone else's schedule. Meals were served at fixed times, even if I wasn't hungry. Bedtime was scheduled. Lights out whether I was ready or not. And, even though I wanted to go outside for a walk, I had to wait for permission, and sometimes that meant waiting for someone to be available to assist me. The small things that I once took for granted, like deciding what I wanted to wear or where I wanted to sit, became privileges. I learned to fit into their system, but in doing so, I started losing myself. If you're considering a nursing home, I want you to ask yourself, are you ready to give up the small freedoms that make life uniquely yours? Because once they're gone, you'll miss them more than you ever thought possible. The second regret I want to share is the overwhelming sense of being forgotten. When I first arrived at the nursing home, my family promised they would visit often. And for a while, they did. My daughter came once a week, and my grandchildren would visit on weekends. It felt like I still had a connection to my old life. But as the months passed, those visits became less frequent. My daughter started calling instead of visiting. The grandchildren got busier with their lives, school, work, and their own families. Holidays were the hardest. Everyone promised they'd come, but plans would always change at the last minute. And suddenly I was left alone in the common room, watching other residents staring at the door, hoping today would be the day someone remembered them. It's not that my family stopped loving me, it's that life moved on without me. When you're not physically present in people's lives every day, they start to assume you're doing fine. They assume you're adjusting and don't need as much attention. But the truth is, the longer you're in a nursing home, the easier it is for people to forget how much you still need them. If you're thinking about moving into a nursing home, I want you to ask yourself, are you prepared for the loneliness? Because once you're out of sight, it's easy for people to forget about you. One of the hardest truths I had to face was realizing that I lost my sense of purpose. At home, I had routines and responsibilities: watering the plants, making my coffee, tidying up my living space. Those daily rituals gave me something to look forward to, something to care about. But in the nursing home, all of that was taken away. Meals were prepared for me, cleaning was done by others, and there were no tasks left for me to do. At first, I thought it would be nice to rest and not have to worry about chores. But after a few weeks, I realized something was missing. I wasn't just missing the tasks themselves. I was missing the sense of accomplishment they brought. The days felt long and aimless. I wasn't working towards anything. I saw other residents facing the same issue, People who had once been full of energy and purpose now spent their days sitting in silence, waiting for time to pass. One man, George, had been a carpenter all his life. He was always working on projects at home. But here there were no tools, no projects to work on. His hands, once full of life, now sat idle in his lap. It made me realize something important. When you no longer have something to care for, something to work towards, life starts to lose its meaning. So before you make this decision, ask yourself, what gives your life meaning? Because once you lose that, it's hard to get it back. Before I moved into the nursing home, I was able to take care of myself. I could go for walks, cook meals, and maintain my little routines. But once I moved in, I noticed my health started to decline faster than I expected. At first, it seemed like a relief. Meals were brought to me, and I didn't have to stand in the kitchen anymore. I didn't have to worry about grocery shopping or cooking, but what I didn't realize was that the more I let others do for me, the weaker I became. I stopped moving as much, and my legs started to feel stiffer. The muscles I had spent years maintaining were slowly disappearing. I wasn't the only one. I watched people who once walked on their own now relying on wheelchairs. Movement, I learned, isn't just for convenience. It's about survival. The more you stop moving, the faster your body starts to deteriorate. If I had known how quickly I would lose my strength, I would have fought harder to keep moving. If you're considering a nursing home, ask yourself, will you still have the motivation to keep your body strong when everything around you is designed to make life easier? Another regret I didn't fully consider was how much privacy I would lose. At home, I had my own space. I could lock my bedroom door, sit in silence, and do things my own way. But in a nursing home, privacy becomes a luxury. Staff are constantly coming in and out of your room. There are shared spaces, and sometimes you don't even have the ability to make small decisions without someone else's approval. Even the basic things, getting dressed, using the restroom, or taking a shower, required assistance. It was hard to accept at first. One of the hardest things was the loss of dignity. It's difficult to maintain a sense of pride when you're no longer treated like an individual, but more like just another name on a list. I remember feeling like a stranger in my own life. If you're considering this move, I want you to ask yourself, are you prepared to give up your privacy and dignity? Because once it's gone, getting it back is much harder than you think. The final regret is realizing that once you're in, it's much harder to leave. When I first moved in, I thought it would be easy to leave if I didn't like it. But over time, I realized that returning to my old life wasn't so simple. My home had changed, and my family had made decisions about what to do with it without asking me. My children weren't sure I could manage on my own anymore. And honestly, after spending time in the nursing home, I wasn't sure I could either. Leaving seemed impossible. The longer I stayed, the harder it became to even consider going back to my old life. So before you move in, ask yourself, are you prepared for the reality that leaving might not be as simple as you think? Friends, this has been my personal experience with moving into a nursing home. Not everyone will have the same experience, and I'm not saying nursing homes are inherently bad. Some people genuinely need the level of care that they offer. However, before you make such a major decision, I urge you to think carefully about what you might lose. Once you move in, things will never be the same. Hold on to your independence, privacy, and sense of purpose for as long as you can. Explore alternatives that allow you to keep those things while still receiving the care you need. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe. Share it with a friend or family member who may be facing the same decision. It might just help them make a more informed choice. Thank you for watching, and I hope you find the best path forward for yourself and your loved ones. See you in the next video.